Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. If you have not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So on the road to 100 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. If you love sports betting, special segments, sports news, daily uploads, my reactions, updated rankings every single week, anything at all in the sports world, it's all right here on the Talk of the Town podcast. So I promise you, your subscription will be well worth it and much appreciated. So let's get into today's video. Speaking of special segments, we have Top 10 Tuesday here today. Man, a lot of changes in the rankings heading into today's Top 10 Tuesday already here in week 4 of the NFL. What seems like 2 days ago, I was just sitting here saying, oh, finally headed into week 1. Football is back, and now we're already headed into week 4. It just goes by too fast, man. Next thing you know, it'll be week 16 and we'll be talking about playoff positioning and our playoff seeding and all that. And it just literally comes out of nowhere. So again, you want the season to fly by to see what teams are, especially if your team is doing good, you know they're going to be in the playoffs. You want it to be playoff time, but at the same time, you don't want it to be because that means it's over just as fast. So already crazy how fast it's going by. So today we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions last night. Pretty crazy game. And then we're going to re-rank our top 10 teams and quarterbacks headed in here to week 4. So let's start off with the Ravens and Lions game from last night. What a pretty crazy game last night. I mean, I haven't seen the Ravens get bullied and thrown around that much in a long time, especially in their home stadium. Pretty brutal to see. I mean, the score does not really speak of how close the game was, especially if you don't watch the game. You see, oh, it was 38-30, so it was pretty close. Maybe the Lions went on a game-winning drive. I mean, it was 38-24, and the Ravens scored with, 30 seconds left or something? There was, no time left, and I seen Detroit just went for an all-out blitz trying to get, I think, 8 sacks on the night it was. That game was not particularly close, to be honest with you. I mean, it was pretty... The Lions felt like they had it by a lot, especially in the second half. The Lions played a way better second half than Baltimore did. Baltimore's a real issue. I'll say this, especially someone who's watched every Ravens game their entire life. There's a serious coaching issue with John Harbaugh right now that isn't quite talked about enough. I think Thursday, I'm going to talk about some coaches on the hot seat and maybe some predictions at the end of the season that I think some coaches that may not be talked about now that could be in the hot seat by the end of the year. I think John Harbaugh his seat is getting really warm. Personally, I am not a John Harbaugh fan at all. I haven't been for a long time, to be honest with you. You remember, he was about to get fired before Lamar came and saved him. I mean, they had a decent bit of losing seasons in Baltimore there for a little while with Joe Flacco. I mean, they were really getting ready to kind of clean house. Get rid of Flacco, but then Lamar came and literally saved the organization from an entire rebuild. And this team was on the brink of rebuilding the next year. And that was kind of the point of drafting Lamar. I was like, okay, this guy is an extremely high project player. I mean, people were talking about him playing running back and receiver. Can this guy even play quarterback? They had no intentions he would turn out to be anything like this. And I'll say this, if it wasn't for Lamar, I love Baltimore's roster. I think they have one of the best rosters in the NFL, and this is why I think John Harbaugh's seat is getting pretty warm. Even then, between how bad the coaching is and the scheming between the defense and the offense, this team is probably like a 5 or 6 win team with this coaching group. I mean, Lamar Jackson has literally saved John Harbaugh's career, at least Ravens' career, because he was on the brink of getting fired. He would have been fired the next year. Then Lamar came in and they won 8 straight games. I think they ended up getting to the playoffs, weirdly enough, with him, and ended up winning MVP the next year. And we know how his career has gone since he started. But I just think Harbaugh and Zach Orr and Monken is, just because their roster's so good, it doesn't quite get talked about enough. But I think it is a bad coaching group. I think Zach Orr, the Ravens have scored over 30 points in every single one of their games, and are 1-2 right now. Their defense stinks. And now I know, they're missing Van Noy. They were missing Matt Abike last night. Jair Alexander. Those are pretty key players you're missing. But regardless, even when they have them, they had them in week 1 against Buffalo. Buffalo's offense was just moving up and down the field on Baltimore. And it was last year. Even though they didn't have Jair Alexander last year, they had Kyle Van Noy with like 12 sacks or something like that. Their defense for a majority of the year last year, besides the last couple of weeks, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks, was horrible. The Ravens started off 1-2 as well last year, which is why I'm not really too worried about them. I think the Ravens are definitely there. I don't think there's any chance they miss the playoffs. No matter how bad I think the coaching personnel is in that organization right now. I probably dog on it more than others, but I genuinely see it. This team underplays from the talent they have. They consistently underachieve, and this is where I have a hot take here to where he should be getting more of the Mike Tomlin treatment, where Mike Tomlin is constantly 10-7 seasons. Oh, when are we ever going to take that next step? Well, the Ravens have had a way better roster than the Steelers have had for a decent bit now, at least. Maybe not way better, but it's definitely better. I mean, they have one of the best rosters in the NFL. Right now, the roster is way better than Pittsburgh's. I think everyone and their mother would take the Ravens roster over Pittsburgh this year, and probably even last year, to be honest with you, in the years with Pickett and all. But anyway, I mean, I guess because Tomlin underachieves, I think Tomlin overachieves with that team. But of course, you want to see some form of playoff success. That Mike Tomlin, that team would have about 5 or 6 wins. The Steelers would have about the last 5 years or so, at least since Big Ben retired. But John Harbaugh's teams constantly underachieve. I mean, how many years are we going to go without going to the Super Bowl? I know that's kind of a high task to ask. But at what point do you get over the hump? I mean, I think Baltimore needs a culture builder, a Dan Campbell. I was mentioning that last night during the game. I was like, you see Dan Campbell's players over there on the sideline, and they look like they would just run through a wall for this guy. They would go, there was a train coming in his direction. They'd step right in front of it for him. I mean, the culture there in Detroit, I said a little while back, this team didn't even have a pulse before Dan Campbell came. Detroit was known as a clown show, one of the worst organizations, not only in the NFL, but in sports. They were horrible. And he took Detroit and gave them a heartbeat and have a heart attack, to be honest with you. I mean, he took a city with no pulse and revived it, man. I mean, he really came through for Detroit, and that's what I feel like Baltimore needs. I mean, Baltimore, again, is not the clown show Detroit ever was for basically my entire life until a few years ago. But they constantly underachieve. That's why I think he deserves more of the Mike Tomlin treatment. I mean, when are we going to say, dude? I mean, Ravens fans say it, but they don't necessarily, bust his balls because he got to an AFC championship. They win a few playoff games, but it's doing nothing for Lamar. Lamar's starting to look very, very frustrated. He looked frustrated yesterday. Derrick Henry looked frustrated. Now, in Derrick Henry's defense, I know the fumbling issue is becoming a real problem for Derrick Henry right now. He's had a fumble in every single game throughout the season so far this year. And one of the things with Derrick Henry is that once you give him the ball, he wears down a defense. The Ravens are completely misusing Derrick Henry. They give him the ball once, expect him to break a 50-yard touchdown run, or he either gets 2 yards and they don't use him again for the entire drive. And they may use him like one other time if they get to the red zone. They are completely misusing Derrick Henry. Yeah, Derrick Henry's fumbles are a problem, but also, too, the one with Aiden Hutchinson yesterday, I mean, the offensive line all game, not even just that play, was just getting torched. I mean, the Ravens are a bad team in the trenches. Defensive line, offensive line, they're really bad right now. I've seen a rumor that they may go and sign Christian Wilkins. No one even knows what really happened with Christian Wilkins. I mean, apparently he went and tried kissing someone in the locker room or something. I don't know. I'm not going to speak on that because I have no idea what happened. That's not really my place to speak about that, but that would be, just in terms of signing as a player, that would be a massive signing for Baltimore. I mean, he's 29 years old. The dude was still in his prime. He came off a pretty big injury, but I think Baltimore might have to take a look at signing someone like Christian Wilkins, but how much difference is that really going to make? Because as I talk about with the coaching staff with Baltimore, um, Zach Orr's defensive scheme is bad. I mean, for one, there's teams in this league, and like I don't necessarily want to hear, well, you know what, their defensive line was depleted. Well, yes, it was, man. BK was out, Van Noy was out. They constantly underperform. There's teams who could only ask for maybe 3 of Baltimore's defenders, and they have guys everywhere on that defense, and they just don't do anything with it. There's worse defenses in this league that are absolutely performing top notch right now. They are. I like Pittsburgh's defense. Although honestly, Pittsburgh's defense isn't playing that good, so that's probably not a really good example. Trying to think of an example here in a sec, but I mean, I like Seattle's defense. I mean, Seattle's defense, coach under Mike Macdonald, looks like they're going to be historic. I mean, they could be Mike Macdonald can make any defense 3 times better than what they are, not 2 times better, like 3 or 4 times better than what they really are. Zach Orr is underperforming at this defense. Like, I'm not expecting this defense to hold teams to 7 or 10 points a game. No one expects that. And you're going to have a game every now and then, especially in a league where the rules are shifting to be more offensive sided, that you're going to give up 30-some points multiple times a year. No one's expecting you to just let up 10 points a game. But you've scored over 30 points a game every game to start off the season, and you're 1-2. It's a defensive issue, and I think it's a bit of a play calling issue as well. I think the culture in Baltimore is starting to look a little broken on this team. They just look very exhausted and frustrated because I'm sure they're hearing the same memo from the same person. And I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Bill Belichick in the locker room. If you, no matter what, in any business, any field, whatever, if you have someone constantly giving you the same memo, telling you how to be successful and this and that, and they're leading the charge, and you're getting no results, you're constantly on the brink of success, but you're not getting there. And honestly, it doesn't feel like you're going to get there because things are constantly staying the same. You're not seeing any improvement. It's just rinse and repeat. The Ravens start off 1-2 again this year. And I guarantee you, they'll probably finish 12-5, go on a hot stretch throughout the middle of the season like they always do, tear teams up, use their scheme, use Derrick Henry well. That's where Derrick Henry got most of his yards last year. It wasn't at the beginning of the year, but was through like week 4 or was like week 5 through week 15 or 16, 17, through the rest of the season. And then they go on, win a playoff game, maybe 2, get in the AFC Championship and lose. It's rinse and repeat with this Baltimore Ravens team. And unfortunately, I kind of see it happening again. Like, this team will be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. I am not sitting here saying that Baltimore's not going to make the playoffs. I'd say that Baltimore if they go 1-4 and lose their next 2 games, John Harbaugh might be fired. So there's no chance that I think this team is going to not make the playoffs. It's pretty interesting because next week, Baltimore, Kansas City is going to be 1-3. I think it'll be Kansas City. I predicted Detroit to win last night. That just kind of had the feeling of Detroit winning last night. But yeah, I think Kansas City will probably be 1-3. I know they've had Baltimore's number over the last few years, but Kansas City this year feels a little different, and they're depleted with injuries, man. I mean, they didn't play that good against the Giants the other night, to be honest with you. They were playing really against just about anyone else. They may have lost that game. So, yeah, they didn't necessarily play great, and Baltimore may have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I hope so. Hopefully they're coached well. Not necessarily saying I'm rooting for one over the other, but you'd hope that they'd have some sort of chip on their shoulder. And a little bit into Detroit as well. I don't necessarily want to make it seem like, well, Detroit only won because the Baltimore coaching staff is consistently underperforming. No, I think Detroit. I'm so high on Detroit. I've been high on Detroit the entire season when everyone, or not everyone, but people, analysts saying this is a 7-win team. You lose Ben Johnson, you lose Aaron Glenn, and you can't replace those guys. And to an extent, they're right. Those are hard guys to replace. Not necessarily saying you can't replace them, but you're more than likely not going to replace them, especially this year. And you're not going to. But this team is steamrolling right now. Everyone thought between their preseason, and their first game against Green Bay that it was over for this team. And I was like, well, just relax on the Lions. I said, after I lost to the Packers, like, this team will be fine. You head into a terrible situation going against a Packers team that just traded for Michael Parsons the week before you played them, that has the most hype I've seen a Packers team have in a while. It's been a while. And you go into their home stadium and have to play them, a divisional rival, regardless, or on top of that anyway. There was no chance Detroit was going to win that game. I don't even care if it was Detroit from last year. There was no chance Detroit was winning that game. Honestly, I think you could have put any team against Green Bay in week 1, and they would have lost to Green Bay. I would almost bet my life on that Green Bay would have beaten any team in week 1, to be honest with you. Seriously, I mean, they had everything in their favor that game. I'm not saying like ref calls or anything, but I'm saying playing at home, the hype, the Michael Parsons trade, just everyone. That game felt like it was just tailored for Green Bay to win that game. And they did. So, but right after that, I said, everyone relax on Detroit. Detroit is going to be fine. This team has way too much talent to suck. And I've seen watched the Colin Cowherd podcast last night, and he was sitting there saying, I realized this team has a lot of talent. I'm like, yeah, dude, no shit. This team has had a ton. The talent never went anywhere. It was just Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. I mean, again, those are really good coordinators. They both got head coaching jobs. So they're obviously doing something right. They're really good at what they do. And it's going to be hard to replace them, especially the year afterwards. But I'm not necessarily saying that they've replaced them, but they found suitable replacements. That's all you need with the talent you have on your roster. You just need suitable replacements, guys who know how to call a good scheme, don't turn the ball over, and on defense, don't let up huge holes in the defense. Not big chunk plays at a time. The old teams with 2 to 3 yards kind of wear them out, and hopefully your team get a stop on third and medium, third and long. That's where you want your team at every single time, and that's what I like these coordinators in Detroit. Just keeping it simple. You don't necessarily have to go out there and beat Ben Johnson and roll up a bunch of trick plays. I see them still kind of have some flea flickers and stuff up their sleeve. They're still rolling out with some things, but they're doing the simple things, the things you need to do to win the game and play to their strengths, and that's what they're doing. They're pounding the ball with arguably the best running back duo in the NFL. If you want to call it the best, no one's going to argue with you. With Gibbs and Montgomery, man, and that's what they did last night, just pounding the rock with those two, and they took advantage of a depleted Baltimore defensive line. So all props to them, man. It was all in the game planning, the scheming. That's how you scheme an offense and a defense right there. You had Lamar Jackson rattled. I haven't seen Lamar Jackson play like that in a very long time. I mean, he looked rattled out there. I've never seen him play like, okay, like what the hell am I doing? That's what he was like out there. It was like he didn't know what he was going to do. He's constantly checking over his shoulder. I'm not saying that he doesn't do that anyway, but he looked pretty rattled out there. He did not look like the Lamar, just kind of being comfortable and just, kind of pulling stuff out of his ass like he usually does, man. I mean, he looked pretty flustered out there, and Detroit, man, called a great game yesterday. Dan Campbell deserves a ton of credit for what he's done with this with this Detroit Lions team. I mean, what a thing he's done there. I mean, this is, like I mentioned a little bit ago, this was a city that didn't have a pulse, and he revived them now, and they are just they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. This team is no joke. They're just not. Their talent is pretty incredible on this Detroit Lions team. I really like them a lot. So good game for Detroit, man. Baltimore, they'll be fine. But when are we going to start talking about John Harbaugh and Zach Core? You throw Bucket in the mix if you want. He's not quite as bad as them. I think he kind of benefits from having Lamar Jackson as his quarterback, which who wouldn't? But a lot of his play calling doesn't get mentioned enough because he's Lamar Jackson handling the rock. I'm telling you, I watch it. This team underperforms every single week. It just underachieves every year. And at some point, Harbaugh's got to start seeking the Tomlin treatment. Constantly underachieving. So let's get into my top 10 teams. Updated rankings this week. Lots of changes in my rankings. Teams moving way up, teams moving down. Some new teams here in the top 10. Always do an honorable mention throwing in there. Speaking of them, I won't go too in depth because just talked about 20 minutes about this team. The Baltimore Ravens in the honorable mention. I can't justify putting them in the top 10, man. You lose 2 games. Your defense sucks right now. Their defense is really bad. It's a defensive issue for Baltimore right now, and they just don't seem like a top 10 team right now. I think they'll finish in the top 10 for sure. They'll probably finish back in the top 5, but got to start winning some games. Number 10, I have the Washington Commanders. Only thing that really is worrying me with the Commanders right now is the Jane Daniels injury. Is looking day to day right now. For being kind of a slender guy, a skinny guy, he's pretty tough back there. And seems like he wants to play. Now, whether or not they clear him to play, we'll see on Sunday. But at number 10 for now, they went in there. One thing that proved to be that Washington is a really good team is that you roll in there with Marcus Mariota and stomp on the Raiders. And the Raiders are not a pushover team. Geno Smith is kind of starting to show his true colors a little bit. I think fans are going to be kind of chanting him off the field soon, but he'll have a roller coaster year. But the Commanders went in with Marcus Mariota. Really just didn't look back. Kind of just like, hey, you know what? We don't have our starting quarterback, but we're sure as hell going to play like we do. And they played a great game. So, yeah, Commanders are a top 10 team for me. Would like to see Jane Daniels come back for that team to move them up any higher right now. That's why I have them a little low, but number 10, top 10 team in the league. Number 9, another new team moving on my list is the Seattle Seahawks. They went in and just curb stomped New Orleans. I think it was like 20-0 at halftime, somewhere near that. If I'm off, I apologize, but it was somewhere near that. I mean, it was like 28-0 or 28-7 or something like that. I mean, it was really bad. It was it was over from the get go with that game. And Seattle, Mike Macdonald coaching this defense it really goes to show you how good of a defensive coordinator he was with Baltimore, because the significant drop off this defense has had, they've arguably added to the defense. They still have most of the same players, if not all of them, and added Jair Alexander and added Malachi Starks in the draft. And their defense has gotten worse. And he goes to Seattle, and their defense is just boomed. The team looks great. They finished 10-7 last year and just missed the playoffs. So that's why a lot of people didn't talk about them. But they finished 10-7 last year. I mean, this team was not. They were a really good team. They were well over 500. So just in a very tight competition in the NFC. So that's just kind of what costed them, and then a good division as well. So yeah, Seahawks, man, moving up to number 9. I think they're a pretty slept on team, and they're playing some good ass football right now. So I like the way Seattle's doing things over there. At number 8, moving up 2 spots, I have San Francisco. 3-0. Some people may think, well, you should have them higher, Matt. Why don't you have them higher? Nick Bosa, now out for the year on a torn ACL. I seen a take that was pretty interesting on the 49ers the other day with Nick Bosa, and it was that the doctor didn't know whether or not he tore his ACL. They were like, well, no, I actually don't think he did tear his ACL. Then he tore his ACL, and they were sitting there saying, like, dude, how do you not know that? That's what people were saying. Now people were sitting there saying, and it's true, is like, I don't know, we're talking about like the medical staff, the training staff. We're kind of talking about now, like the doctors. Are these guys even qualified now? Because usually an ACL tear, you can kind of tell that from the jump, especially if you're a doctor. I mean, you should be able to know that like almost right away with all the scanning and imaging and just all the constant ACL injuries and ACL tears these players have. Usually, especially they go and ask other doctors, it's like, yeah, you should know it pretty instantly. Well, they didn't know really at all. They kind of said, well, he should be fine. And then it turned out to be an ACL tear. And now people are questioning, like, are these doctors even qualified? Is this why they're getting so many injuries on this 49ers team? I thought that was a pretty interesting story. And the 49ers are keep getting more and more injured. They're kind of just pulling wins, out of nowhere. I mean, and they're getting wins. I have to keep them in the top 10. I mean, they're doing this without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle, now without Nick Bosa. Trent Williams is looking old. I mean, because he is. He's almost 40 years old. But the 49ers are like really teeter-tottering on, like, if they lose next week, they could be out of my top 10 because this team is just so depleted. But Ricky Pearsall looked like a true number 1. And they're doing this without Ayuk. I mean, I love the way Ricky Pearsall did step up. Really showed why he's a first-round draft pick, and especially over Marvin Harrison Jr., who is looking like an absolute bust right now. Sorry, Cardinals fans. I had to bring it up since 49ers played you, but Yeah, Ricky Pearsall breakout game. 49ers number 8. Number 7, staying in the same spot, even barring the loss, is the Los Angeles Rams. This team would have ended up keeping their lead and even just winning the game. You know, they blew their lead, kind of like they did, and then ended up winning anyway. This team would have moved up a lot in the rankings, but I'm going to keep them at 7. I mean, they played a really good game against the defending Super Bowl champs. Just blew their lead. I mean, they had the game in their full control. I think it was like 26-7 at one point. The game was in their full control. They blew it. So there would have been some massive changes to my rankings. You would have seen the Eagles move down a good bit, and then you would have seen the Rams move up a good bit. So the Rams only would have won that game. They would have moved up, but they played a pretty good game regardless. And I don't think anyone's really down on the Rams right now. I think we all see them competing to be in the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. So they can absolutely, and they prove they can hang up there with the best of the best. I mean, it wasn't like this game was a blowout. Like I said, they had the game won, or at least not won, but in their control, and they lost grasp of it. So going to keep them at number 7. I don't really feel like they deserve to drop or really go up, of course, barring a loss. So keep them at number 7. Number 6, moving up 5 spots in the rankings. The Indianapolis Colts, team I was not high on coming into this season at all. Majority of people were not. I was definitely one of them. And I thought this team was going to be a disaster. Now, still early in the season. Not saying I'm hoping it's going to be or anything. Saying that, I'd be lying if I were to tell you guys that I still kind of was a little weary of the Colts. They did beat the Titans last week, but they're 3-0, and Daniel Jones is playing career level football right now. I think, do the Colts play the Bills this week? I think they do. No, or do they? I don't know who they play this week. I think they do play a tougher opponent this week. No. They don't play the Bills. Who do they play this week? Let me see. I haven't actually pulled up right now. I've seen a graphic with Josh Allen and Daniel Jones. I logged on to Instagram this morning showing their stats compared to each other. That's why I thought they played. I was like, no, they don't. No, they play the Rams this week. Okay. Yeah, they play the Rams. They go and beat Los Angeles. That weariness will completely go away. I'd like to see them beat Los Angeles now in week 4. Teams are kind of warmed up now, coming off a win from the Titans, regardless, still a divisional win. I think they've literally had like one punt all season, and that was just in this game that they just played. They didn't have a punt for like 14 quarters or something. And it was just crazy, man. That offense is moving. Daniel Jones is playing great football. Did not expect to say that right now and going into week 4, but hey, man, Colts deserve to be borderline top 5 team. I just feel like these top 5 teams, the Colts were to play these teams I list next, I feel like they'd lose, to be honest with you. I'd probably take the Rams over the Colts. That's why I should have remembered the when I just mentioned a few minutes ago that the Colts played the Rams, because that's what I did this listing on. Is I think the Rams are going to beat the Colts, but at the same time, I think it's going to be closer. Colts could pull off an upset, but I was debating on putting the Rams over the Colts still, because I think the Rams are going to beat the Colts this week heading into this matchup. But I'm going to give the Colts the respect they deserve right now. They are playing like a borderline top 5 team in the NFL. Number 5, I'm going to have to give it to the Green Bay Packers. Moving down 2 spots. That was a really bad loss. I was debating on moving them down even further, putting the Colts and Rams over the Packers, to be honest with you. I really was, because losing to the Browns after what you had is crazy. But I'm not going to move him down from 3 to 7, 3 to 7 or 8. And I feel like that's a little much, just drawing off a one trap game loss. Now, I think it would lose next week. They might end up moving off the list. I don't know. It depends on how they play that game. But if they play anything like they did against Cleveland, which, to their credit, Cleveland has the number one defensive unit in the league. It looks like a pretty serious group out there. But they had the game won. I mean, it was 10-0. They still didn't play great. I may have ended up even dropping them anyway, even if they did win maybe a spot. But you go out there and lose to Cleveland, man, I have to drop you. I mean, I probably arguably should have dropped them even more, but I'm going to keep them where they're at, because I'm going to give them the benefit. Early year game, trap game. The game kind of felt like a trap game, knocked me out of my survivor pool. But it was just, I love the Packers roster still, but I do think the Packers have had some serious overhype, just overhypeness to them. I don't know if that's a word, but you get what I'm saying. Um, I think people are sitting there saying, well, they're easily going to win this division. They're way better than Detroit. I mentioned yesterday on my podcast, it's just going to be crazy how fast that narrative flips when Detroit wins tonight, which was last night, and Green Bay had the loss on Sunday. The narrative did flip. People are talking about Detroit more seriously than the Packers right now. And I still have Detroit winning that division. I think Detroit's, more talented than Green Bay, which is who I'm talking about next. Detroit moving up 4 spots to number 4. They were number 8 last week. A big win over a big-time opponent in their stadium. What that Jared Goff people don't talk about is he's like the opposite of Kirk Cousins. He's Mr. Primetime. I'm about to start calling him that Mr. Primetime because he's 11-1 in primetime games. I mean, he's pretty good in primetime games. Or not pretty good. He's great in primetime games. So they move up to number 4. I'm not going to mention too much. I was talking about the Lions a little bit ago. Extremely talented team. Can hang up there with the best of them, and will be competing for a Super Bowl in January. Number 3, moving up 2 spots after the win to a divisional opponent against the Denver Broncos. I have the Chargers at number 3, moving up from 5 to 3. This team to me right now is, they didn't necessarily have the best game against Denver, but Denver's team is really talented. I think we definitely, again, overhyped the Denver coming into this season, to be honest with you. I mentioned that last week when I dropped them big time on my list. They're not even on my top 10 this week. But they went and beat them, man. That was a gritty win over a divisional opponent, a good opponent. And they pulled off the win. And Justin Herbert, even though he didn't have the best game in the world, but really pulled it off with clutch throws. And that touchdown throw to Keenan Allen was a great throw. They ended up pulling off and winning that game. The Jim Harbaugh hiring is looking really good for the Chargers right now. And Najee Harris being out's kind of a blow. I would have liked, even though he wasn't doing much anyway, I would have liked to see him and Hampton produce a little more. I'd still like to see a little more out of Amarion Hampton. I'm a little disappointed with him to this point, but Chargers up at number 3. Number 2, Bills stay where they're at, coming off the win from Miami last Thursday. They're just playing like a great team. I can't move them up because number 1, the Eagles cannot lose right now. I was getting ready to change my list. I was taking notes on the game, the Eagles game, and I was like, I think this team could drop a good bit in my rankings. Now, they'd still easily be in the top 5. I wouldn't drop the Eagles from 1 to 8 because off of 1 loss, but the Eagles, if they're going to see number 1, even if they keep winning, defending Super Bowl champs, they've been lost in what seems like forever now. The Eagles, literally, I think we're coming up on like a year of the last time they lost a game. It may even have been a year at this point. No, they were like 2-2 last year. So they had that whole thing with Jalen Hurts and going against. I remember it strictly because of that Deshaun Watson Browns game for some reason, but they're coming up on like a year since they lost a game. So I can't put another team over them right now. I don't even care if them and Buffalo finish 17-0, which I doubt is going to happen at all. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying because if they both didn't lose a game, I'd still have the Eagles over them. So Eagles just rolling right now, man. Even when it seems like they're going to lose, they still can't lose. So that's my top 10 teams list heading into week 4 this week. My top 10 quarterbacks list now. Let's go over this. Dropping down significantly 4 spots is Jordan Love. Again, I know I just mentioned the Packers with the number 1 they went against the number 1 rated defense. Jordan Love goes against the number 1 rated unit in the entire NFL in the Cleveland Browns. But he didn't play that good. He really didn't play that good. I know the defense is really good, but kind of worrisome. Like, I don't know. Jordan Love is such a roller coaster of a quarterback. You're going to see him like number 6 on my list, and you're going to see him 10 the next week. Then maybe number 7. Then maybe people are going to put him off the list. No, that's the thing with Jordan Love. He is boom or bust. And unfortunately, this week for him, he was a bust. So I got to move him down. I really did not like the way he played. I like these other quarterbacks over him right now. Number 9, new on the list. Did not think I'd have this man on my list at all this year or any year I do this. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is neck and neck with Josh Allen stats right now. Some may even argue his stats are better than Josh Allen. No one's saying if anyone says Daniel Jones is better than Josh Allen, I think we need to put you up in the loony bin. But regardless, Daniel Jones is playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. He just is. He really is. Now, these guys over him, of course, are just a lot better. And honestly, even though Jordan Love is ranked under him right now, if you had to give me to start a franchise with somebody, absolutely I'd take Jordan Love 100 times out of 100. There's no doubt about it. I think Jordan Love is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones, but in terms of performance right now, I got to give it to Daniel Jones, man. He deserves to be on the top 10 list. I'm going to put him at number 9. And if he can keep playing like he's playing or even just kind of keep up on a pace, he may actually legitimately end up finishing on the top 10 quarterbacks list by the end of the year. Number 8, I was debating on taking him off the list, but I'm not going to yet, is Jane Daniels. Now, this is not solely based off play, but it is based off whether he plays or not. If he does not play this week, I can assure you Jane Daniels probably will not be on my list next week. I've got to slide in someone else. It's not based off his play. When he's playing, he's still a top 10 level quarterback. He is a top 10 quarterback, but you got to play. I'm not going to have someone who misses 2 straight weeks be on my top 10 list when there's other guys out there putting up big numbers in good games. I'm not going to do. We all know Jane Daniels is a top 10 quarterback, but you got to play. You do. Right now, so far, he's missed half of the games if he misses Sunday, but I'm not going to necessarily say, oh, well, you missed 1 week, you're off the list. No, I'm going to keep him. I didn't want to move him up nor down right now, so I'm going to keep him in a spot, but if he does miss next week, more than likely, he's going to end up being off the top 10 for probably only a week, and then he'll be back, and then he'll work himself back into the top 10 within a week. So, number 7, I have Matt Stafford. Moving up 2 spots from number 9. It was in Daniel Jones' spot, but now he's up to number 7. Played a good game against the Eagles. He's having a really good season so far, kind of just looking like, the normal Matt Stafford, should I say. Again, I worry about his back still a little bit of a bad hit. Is the second Matt Stafford goes to hold his back or anything, and that back injury comes back to nag him, might have to call the Rams season a wrap, but hopefully that does not happen. Where Stafford stays at number 7. We all know how Stafford plays, man. Gunslinger, still has it in his late 30s. I'd love to see it. Number 6, Jalen Hurts moving up 1 spot from number 7. People probably going to be pretty upset, but this top 5, I like these other 5 quarterbacks better than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had a great second half. In terms of this year, people are kind of arguing like, okay, this dude has more tush pushes than 5+ or 10+ yard throws or passes thrown. And that's where people kind of have a hard time putting Jalen Hurts up there. Not that necessarily his fault. Now he's one of the better running quarterbacks in the league. He's a decent passer. But Jalen Hurts, after pretty stellar second half performance, AJ Brown definitely helped that case as well. Yeah, Jalen Hurts, man, playing a good football game, especially the second half really helped him because he didn't have a great first half against the Rams at all last week. So definitely just only going to move him up a spot here. Now, this is where people are probably going to get pretty upset. Number 5, I moved Mahomes down 1 spot. I know he won the game, but these other quarterbacks are playing, to me, just better than him right now. Now, in fairness, that if the Chiefs did have Patrick Mahomes, they'd be 0-3, even though they are only 1-2 right now. They'd be 0-3 and wouldn't even be competing for anything. I mean, this team would just be kind of a laughingstock, to be honest with you, because their team is not playing well, but Mahomes is their only saving grace. But he's going to win a little more games this season, I think. Right now, if they were 2-1, I would not move him down. But 1-2, barring a pretty ugly win against the New York Giants. It's not like they went and beat the Bills 16-6, but the New York Giants, I can't necessarily move him up, but I am going to move him down because number 4, Baker Mayfield, on his 3rd clutch drive performance. He's all 3 games, he has led them on a clutch game-winning drive. Just when it seems like Tampa's choked the game away and lost it, Baker Mayfield comes back and plays hero ball. So I got to move him up a spot, man. I mean, Mahomes, I know, like I just mentioned, that team would be absolutely nothing without him. But even with him right now, they're still not playing very well, barring kind of a gritty win against the Giants. It goes in against the Jets. Baker was playing against the Jets. The Jets are not good either. I do think the Jets are playing better than the Giants right now. it comes back, man. And when it seems like all hope is lost, Baker comes and saves the day again for the third time this season. Every single week, he's led them on a touchdown drive. So that's some stuff the elites do, man. And he's up there. I got to move him up a spot because he just keeps doing it week after week. Moving down a spot, actually, Lamar Jackson at number 3 on my quarterback list. He didn't have a bad game whatsoever yesterday. He hasn't had a bad game at all this year, but not really winning any games right now. And not necessarily saying that's his fault, because they put up 30 points every game, and it's not nearly at all a Lamar Jackson issue. It is not at all a Lamar Jackson issue. But barring last night's performance, got sacked 7 times. Not necessarily saying that's all his fault, but he looked flustered last night. He did not necessarily look great last night. Made a couple of really, really great, incredible throws. If you wanted to keep him at number 2 and not move him, I will never argue with that. But I figured I'd move him down because I'm going to move Herbert up to number 2. He moves up 1 spot on the list here today. Justin Herbert, look, even though he didn't necessarily have the best performance against Denver, we know Denver's defense is really, really good. Divisional opponent, and Herbert's playing like an MVP caliber quarterback. I think maybe if the season were to end today, Herbert could win MVP right now. I mean, he is playing some top level football, which is what I said Herbert's been needing to do. Herbert's been a top 10 quarterback, but it seems like he's kind of taken that leap into being like the top 5 with the elites right now. So Herbert is playing amazing football, and they're winning games. They're 3-0. I think even if Lamar won last night, I probably wouldn't have moved Herbert up, but Herbert is 3-0, man, and really just playing like a star right now. And Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are 1-2, so I had to move Lamar down and Herbert up 1. And number 1, staying the same again for the 4th consecutive week. Josh Allen, or no, yeah, well, I guess the 3rd consecutive week, because I started Mahomes off as number 1, because, you know, you have to. But Josh Allen, another win, another superhero performance from Josh Allen. And I don't have to speak too much on it because we all know that he's probably the best quarterback in the league right now. It's definitely looking that way, taking his team, just pulling miracles after miracles, miracle throws and miracle plays. Definitely, to me right now, the best quarterback in the NFL. That is it for my Top 10 Tuesday. Great episode as usual. Thank you guys for coming out and watching the video. Every ounce of support means everything to me. If you did like the video, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, as it is much, much, much appreciated. And I will see you guys tomorrow on Why Not Wednesday. Take it easy.